Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically are discussing the topic that is PHP introduction and PHP basically. So this basically say that PHP gives the output HTML basically. What actually this is? One person basically asked the question. So that basically says that there is basically client and server relationship, right? So one person told that yes, basically multiple clients are there and one the server is there, and the server basically connects with many things basically. So another person told that yes, basically yes, sir, you are right. Basically. When PHP file basically, whenever basically the client executes the scripts, for example, one PHP website basically was created or basically ERP project was created, whenever the clients basically execute the PHP file, that time basically it goes to the server basically. First of all, it checks basically which extension file is. According to that, the IIS server basically gives the data to according to the extension group basically. So it's a PHP because it might possible that in same server basically the PHP and ASP also basically might be running. .NET also might be there. .NET file also can be run na, basically in PHP basically in one server basically PHP also might be there and ASP also might be there. So how server recognize basically that is a file extension basically. The PHP file so basically it sends to the PHP server basically. Then basically it segregates the files, it basically checks the each and every file. This happens very within just milliseconds basically. Nobody basically can track also basically, but the log file basically are generated, so from that basically you can track it exactly basically what happens there basically. First basically it goes to the PHP, then basically PHP, then it goes to segregates the JavaScript file, JavaScript plugins are there, lots of JavaScript scripts are there. Then basically it segregates the HTML file, then it segregates the PHP file. If some JSON basically is written, then it will go to the JSON side. So JSON basically it's such a just a simple JavaScript only, but it's separated basically. Then basically it goes to the PHP, then basically everything basically the man if it's some Java applets are written basically, then basically it goes to there also basically, because PHP sometimes basically it can be in some objects basically are the applications are there, that also basically can be derived from PHP. So that basically is our objects basically for the PHP basically, because in HTML also basically you can have applets no, basically, because it's a simple objects basically. In object basically you just have to give the path of the applet that is the Java basically. So one of the person told that this all basically all the manipulation basically are done. After that basically the engines are manipulated, everything basically manipulation happen. Then the database side, if the in PHP basically the database sides are written, then it goes to the database also. Lots of basically things happen. Then ultimately basically it return PHP basically returns the data back to the server basically. That data basically is in HTML format basically. Sometimes basically it goes to the XML format also basically. So that depends upon the conditions basically. So here basically, for example, one person told that PHP file, PHP code is written. So when we do the view source in the browser or the client side, the PHP code basically it doesn't display. It display the HTML code basically. For example, you have written in PHP, print this hello world. So in PHP it is written. So whenever basically you are executing that code basically, that time basically the when you do the view source basically, that time it displays the simple normal HTML hello world only. It doesn't display the PHP code basically. So that is basically the output basically. So that basically in previous video basically we left that basically. In this basically we saw the operating system, also we saw the Apache IIS server. Just now basically we displayed that. Then basically supports wide range of database basically. How many database basically PHP supports? The person who created the PHP, he have tie up with how many database side basically, because everything you have to create basically. You have to create the engine basically. Engine means basically you can say you are connecting from one area to another area. If you want to go to that building, there are two buildings basically, but middle basically the connectivity is not there. So how you will go to the another building? So you have to create the connectivity na basically. So that basically is the engine basically. So PHP is connected with how many database basically, that PHP only knows, because PHP group has created the PHP. So they know how many database engine basically they have created. These two buildings basically example you always have to remember whenever basically you are having this type of ideas basically. So PHP has created one engine basically. That is how many engines basically they have created. SQL server basically you can connect, MySQL server also connect, like this access also basically you can connect. So like this many database basically are there in PHP which you can basically connect. So this everything which I am telling basically, that all basically have some physical areas. Same way basically the text box equal to 1,000 cities, and 1,000 city is connected with if conditions, while conditions. See this everything basically when you are going to merge now basically, it connects to very dangerous stuff basically. This everything basically happens in server basically. So you should basically have to know the how many. For example, one person told that basically I want to open one company. So that time basically you should know which server basically is good for your business basically, because that server group only are going to give you the business. For related to this also basically I have uploaded many videos basically. What actually the server is basically. What actually the server is, that also basically I have uploaded many videos basically. You watch in a basically in this video in my channel basically lots of videos basically are there which will say what actually the server is basically. So whatever thing, if one normal looking if condition basically have 1,000 cities. This thing even basically the government don't know basically. Governments basically don't know, then basically how your college, how your institute basically, how the IITs groups, how the IIM institute basically, its college basically, then the how the Harvard University, how the Oxford University will know this basically. Why? Because American government only don't know. Then how the Oxford University and Harvard University are going to teach you? But this is most important basically. You should know this everything basically. What actually the programming is basically. Because it's very must basically. This thing basically which I am telling you, that is very must basically. Otherwise basically you will not able to understand what actually the programming is and what actually you are doing basically, and you basically will not able to understand actually. Various types of database are there, like this basically many stuff basically are there in this video. So you can just imagine basically. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.